me exactly what's going on.
One of the roommates has passed out, and she was drunk last night, and she's not waking up. Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night. Yeah.
Tonight, motive revealed. Why would Brian Kohberger, according to the state, stalk and murder 4 innocent people at that King Road address? He had to watch them to see their comings and goings. What could possibly be the motive? He didn't even know them, according to the defense. Joining me now, expert Howard Bloom, author of When the Night Comes Falling, a requiem for the Idaho student murders. Howard, motive?
The big question in this entire case has always been why? Why would someone enter a house, off-campus home of 4 students and brutally murder them in the hours before dawn? And all along, everyone has been coming up with hypotheses about what could have happened. Well, now the prosecution thinks they have put the pieces together. They believe that there's a direct link from Dr. Catherine Ramsland to Brian Kohberger. Dr. Ramsland had been his tutor, his professor at graduate school at DeSalle University when he went for his master's. He idolized her. She put him on a course to become a forensic psychologist. And
well, wait a minute, Howard. Okay, so she was his instructor. We know that. We know she's a renowned criminal investigator and professor, but how does that equal motive, Howard?
Brian Kohberger is someone who becomes obsessed easily. He was a heroin addict and then he kicked it. I believe he was obsessed with one of the victims in the King Road murder house. And I also believe he was obsessed with Catherine Ramsland. I believe he, in a way, idolized her. He idolized all her accomplishments, and he wanted to make his own life, his own career, mirror her accomplishments. He wanted to become a forensic psychologist. He wanted to have her talent, her ability to look into the dark recesses of the criminal mind. But he even wanted to take it one step farther as his relationship grew. He wanted to prove to her that he could be even better than she was in understanding the criminal mind, because he could commit the perfect crime. And this perfect crime that he was committing was in many ways, one can speculate, almost a love letter to Dr. Catherine Ramsland. He was trying to win her affection and her respect, and his way of doing this in his bizarre sort of erotomania was to make this perfect crime as a homage to her.
Howard Bloom has written the book, That's True, When the Night Comes Falling, but I need a shrink. Again, Dr. Bethany Marshall, I'm just a trial lawyer. What is he saying? Erotomania? What?
What Howard Bloom is saying is that Brian Kohberger was in love with his mentor, and because he was studying to become a clinical psychologist, a criminologist, he wanted to commit the perfect crime. Howard Bloom calls this erotomania. Erotomania is when somebody is in a very manic, excited state and they believe that they are at the center of another person's attention. So he believes that Dr. Ramsland is in love with him and he's going to prove that he's worthy of her love. Nancy, this makes no sense. I mean, honestly, she's a criminologist and he's going to commit a crime to impress her. I mean, logic there's nothing logical about that. I mean, let's say it were true. Did he take a trophy to give to her? Did he take pictures to show to her? I mean, it would be more understandable if he caught a killer to impress her, not becoming a killer.
We are talking about potential motive in this case. Was he so obsessed with Dr. Ramsland that he had grown to love her in an obsessive way? To Chris McDonough joining me, a veteran homicide detective, director, Cold Case Foundation. and star of the Interview Room on YouTube. I've seen murders for a lot less, but obsession, definitely a motive I've seen many, many times. And it doesn't mean the defendant and the love object had ever been intimate, had ever even held hands or kissed. It's the obsession with Ramsland. That's what Howard Bloom is talking about, whether requited or not.
Yeah, the challenge though, Nancy, with the obsession aspect here with Dr. Ramsland is Brian Kohberger hates women. Let's just start there. And his obsessive behavior was not around his professor, but rather his study of those who would commit mass murder. And so I think we need to dig a little bit deeper here. And again, I believe that at some point it will be shown that he was obsessed with serial killers, Ted Bundy specifically.
Was Brian Kohberger obsessed with Dr. Ramsland, one of his female instructors, known as the consummate expert in the field? We know that also the defense fought again tooth and nail to keep out his thesis, the thesis regarding criminal behavior that he wrote, which delves into the criminal psyche. Listen.
In arguments against its inclusion, the defense reveals that prosecutors plan to enter into evidence records from Kohberger's graduate studies in psychology at DeSales University. The filing says they have received discovery including Kohberger's school calendar, written coursework, testing, emails, and syllabi from his time as a master's student, and the attorneys failed to see its relevance. As part of his theses, Kohberger worked with professors to develop a survey exploring how emotions influence a criminal's decision-making during the commission of a violent crime.
Wow, was that airbrushed or what? Sydney Sumner joining us, Crime Stories investigative reporter. It wasn't just a survey. It wasn't just a black and white on a page report. He would ask these violent felons, how did you pick your victim? What did it feel like when you enacted the crime? In other words, when you stabbed someone or raped someone or killed someone, felt the life ebbing out of their body. What did that feel like? How did you get away? What was your exit strategy? He wanted the gruesome details, the emotions these violent felons experienced in the throes of the murder.
That's absolutely correct. This was not just a pick one of the below survey. It was extremely in-depth. He wanted to know exactly how that criminal felt as they committed their crime, their violent crime. In addition to that survey, prosecutors also wanted to introduce a report that he gave, and it was basically how he would go in and assess a crime scene if he was the lead investigator in a case first to the crime scene. And that case study was a stabbing of a woman, more middle-aged than the victims in his actual criminal case. But I think prosecutors plan to use that just to demonstrate how much knowledge
Sydney,
of crime scene cleanup Kohberger
let me clarify
has.
something that you just said. In his study, his hypothetical victim was a white female alone that he stabbed with a knife inside a structure. Isn't that true?